So, welcome to this class. This is class number 2 of report writing skills. Here, we are going to discuss about report writing in terms of professional world. Okay, we will be looking at the professional perspective of writing a report. So, shall we start? Can you see my screen?
Yes, madam, we are seeing it.
Great. So, today's topic is structure of a report as per the timetable. We already talked about what is a report, what is its significance. So here we are going to discuss about the structure. Though, be it a report or an oral conversation, the prerequisite is that you should be able to communicate the desired thing to the person with whom you are communicating. So basically, in order to make that other person understand what do you want to say or convey, it is important to have that structure that that is comprehensible, comprehensive, and then the clarity of the thought should be there. So this report is not an exception. It will also follow the structure, will follow all those tips which are required for a great communication. So see, when we say a report, so you must have seen in your, professional world or any sort of report if you have come across. Otherwise, we will see some of the templates today. You will find out that at the first thing is the title page. At the first page, you will find this title page, then acknowledgement, and then table of contents, executive summary, introduction, body or the content, conclusion, recommendations if there are any. If you have used any abbreviation or glossary sort of thing, then you can keep it. And then the reference. So when we say title page, what does it include as the name suggests? Obviously, the name of the report, then whoever has written it, so that person write it, his or her name, and the organization and the date. You can add, optional things also, whichever you like. But this is the title page and the content which has to be there on the title page. Then we have acknowledgement. What are we supposed to write in the acknowledgement section is, this section allows the people who were indispensable in writing the report to be thanked or mentioned. So whoever has helped you in writing that report, or whoever has made this possible for you to complete that particular task, you can acknowledge or thank that person. Then we have table of contents. Do you know we can create this table of contents using MS Word, and that would be an automation. How many of you know? Okay, let me show you this. See, whatever sections we are having, here, let us copy them and paste over here. Now, what I'm supposed to do, I want to make them headers. Okay. So I'm going to references section. I'm going to add text and I want them to be at level 1. So level 1 means the heading. Then whatever I'll write under this, let's say anything. Welcome to this report writing session. Okay, so this will come under the heading and I want it to be a subheading. Then I can go to references section, go to add text, and I can make it level 2. That means the subheading. Now what I want, I'm pressing Control and Enter to shift it to another place. To another page. Now I want the table of contents. So I can choose whichever option I like from the references and then table of contents. So let's keep this one. So you can see it has created me automatically the table of contents, whichever I chose. And because I chose this as subheading, so you can see that this is a subheading. And you know, the interesting part of this digital report and this table of content is that if you hover your mouse on the title, on these headings, it will show you. If you click Control and click to follow link, Control and Enter, you will come to this title. Okay, and it will automatically mark the page number also. So some of the things which you should notice, I think you know about this, but still, you should mention the page number from insert tab. I think that you know, but still let me, and you can choose the format. You can also add headers to keep this uniform on every page. For example, I'm writing here report. Okay, then you can see it will come on every page. This header, you can keep it on footer as well. And you can see at the bottom, we have page number also. Also for the border part, you can go to design section, can click on box, and you can have this. Okay. Also, if you want, you can have the watermarks. So these are a few things which you have to, keep in mind before presenting your report in a formal manner. Do we have informal things also? Let's discuss and talk about them. So this is class number 2. We were talking about this bit. Is table of contents, how to do it is clear to you? Hello?
Yeah, it's clear, very clear.
Great. So in table of contents, you write, all the list. It has all the list, all the major sections of the report, and it helps us if I'm reading your report. So it helps the reader to find specific information. If I specifically want to go to that particular section, then I can do so. And it indicates how the information has been organized, how many headers are there, how many subsections, what topics are covered, all those things are written. And then if you are keeping any figures, list of figures, so you can also write it under the table of contents that this is the list of figures, list of tables. So this is how it is done. Now next is executive summary. What do you write in executive summary? As the name suggests, it is kind of, you are briefly summarizing everything, right? It is kind of summary where you are stating the purpose of the study, the sources of information from where this has been taken, the information has been taken, the major findings, conclusions, and recommendation. Okay, these you can have in the summarized form. And then basically, if you know, I have a lot to read, I have 15 to 20 reports, and I don't know, I'm not confirmed from, with which I should go with. So what I can do, I can simply read executive summary and find out whether this is important for me or not. So that's how it creates the significance. It is designed for those who do not have the time to read the entire report. And it is like for them, they are treating it as a means of refreshing their mind at some later time, Maybe you can consider it as like minutes of meeting. Not exactly, but yes, we have these minutes, and we can go through them anytime. And this is the most important section, that hook part, where you can, you have only 2 minutes of your time to create an impact on the audience, on the reader. So this is your time. So make it as impactful as you can. Okay. Then we have introduction. So in introduction, obviously, it is very important. Whenever you are given with any research paper, any report, any writing skills, before going ahead with all of the content, always make sure you go with, first of all, abstract or executive summary, then introduction, and lastly, the conclusion. If you are convinced enough to go ahead with the rest of the part, then it's fine. Otherwise, these three things can tell you the significance of that particular report, and it can save your time. Whether, you can read out so many texts to see which one is good for you and which one you should disregard or discard. However, you need to keep this in mind that in introduction, there should not be, so much detail. It's just an idea. You are providing an idea, a good idea to the reader of where the report is going. Okay. Maybe you are explaining the table of contents here. And then what we have got is, remember in introduction also you can classify the report. For example, when you write something, you must have that background information or the idea. So you can divide the introduction into three main components. What are these three main components? Firstly, the background. Okay, always describe the background. And background means it describes events leading up to the existing situation. Leading up the existing situation, why you are writing a report. What projects have been done previously, and why the project or study is necessary, which you are doing right now. So in introduction, we have three sections. First one is the background, the purpose of report you are telling. Then secondly, the purpose defines what the project or study is to achieve. So far, you have defined the existing situation. For example, you are writing a sales report. So you can say in introduction that previously or the last financial year, we had these, you can represent the data. And then this is the report of the year of the financial year 2023. And why you are writing, state the purpose. Purpose defines what the project or study has to achieve or is to achieve. Okay. And also you can write about who authorized it. Okay, because you have to show the what is it called, originality of report, or the significance that yes, it is approved or acceptable. And you can write the terms of reference also, maybe from where you have taken this. Then the third thing in the introduction which you talk about is the scope. Okay, the scope where you defines or outlines any sort of limitation imposed on the project. Maybe you can say that, it was very cost effective, or it was cost expensive, or the time, because of time limitation, you could not, survey so many people, and that's why it may be subjective enough. So some sort of limitation you can write down. So introduction is different from executive summary because, in executive summary, what you did, it is highlighting the background information, purpose, scope, and the rest of the things. Every single bit comes under the category of executive summary, the summary of the report. But in introduction, you only highlight the background, information, purpose, and scope. Okay? Are we all clear and on the same page?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, sure.
great. Then we have, of course, the content of the body. So we all know that it must be having, some, what is it called? Meat of the story. So the body of the report is composed of a series of things, series of chapters, which you can go on, depending on the time and the word limit which you have, and the significance which you want to make to create. So it describes the subject of the report. Please mute yourself. So it describes the subject of the report, and you can divide it into many topics. Make sure it has some logical order. Okay, those topics should not be random, that the the result you are representing at the top, and then rest things are. So maybe you can have this chronological order, any logical order sort of thing, where with headings and subheadings you can keep them in the body. Okay, so what it should address, the body should address, why was this study necessary? Though you have talked about the purpose in introduction, but that was not in the elaborated form. Okay, in an elaborated form. So here you are telling why was this study necessary? When, where, how, all those WH family questions, and by whom the study was conducted. Then you can talk about the findings, methodology used, from where did you get the data? What were the findings? And then you can come to conclusions and recommendations. Okay, when it comes to conclusion, you have to cover the judgment. You can give your judgment also. I mean, after combining all of the facts in the shortcut, in the short form, you can write your judgment that because of this data, we can conclude this, And so it should be brief, concise, make sure it is specific, because whoever reads your report at the beginning, they always go through what? Table of contents, executive summary, introduction, and conclusion. So these are the very major parts you should consider to, to make an impact. Then you have abbreviation of, I believe that you know that abbreviations or glossary or references, they should come according to the alphabetical order. So I think you know that if I'm writing here anything, any first letter, so you can arrange it using A to Z. Where is it? So you can type, you want to sort it on the basis of alphabetical order. And you want to separate it or sort by paragraphs. So, okay. So you can see it has been arranged as per the alphabetical order. So this is also you should remember. Then where we were? Yeah. So when we say recommendation, in recommendation, you should, follow naturally. It should follow the conclusion naturally. Okay. It is like you are concluding things and then you are telling people that though this data, because of time constraint or anything, was limited to this particular thing, like you were talking about the weakness, then you can say, but further research can be done. If it is a research report, you can say this recommendation is there for reader to do further research. Or, rest of the things will come under next quarter report. So all those recommendations which can resolve the queries and doubts of the reader, you can put them into this section, okay, based on the materials and data which you have collected, okay, during the research process. Then what we have is, I have already talked about abbreviation, that it should be as per the alphabetical order, okay, and you need to provide the glossary also. Sometimes, what happens, if I am telling you, you remember we were talking about taxes the other day, and I told you that we talked about VAT, GST. So if I am using these terms and I am aware of these, but I cannot simply write in my report only the abbreviation. Always write full form first, like value added tax, and then show the reader that this is its full form. Because you have now introduced this VAT full form here, now for this keyword onwards, you can use simply VAT. You don't need to every time expand the abbreviation. It is just that at the first type, or at the initial process, you need to expand it. Similarly, we have GST in India, which is goods and services tax. So you need to, make reader aware about what is happening. Or else, if you don't want to elaborate it here, you can simply, type it under the section of glossary, and you can show it in the table of contents that is this. Okay, so glossary can work. Then what we have is, and please make sure if you are using, very heavy words, very technical terminologies, let's say you are writing a report which is your department specific, but as a general team manager, I don't know about it. Maybe I'm just asking you for the performance appraisal. However, if I'm doing the performance appraisal, I should know, just bear with me, I should know that, these are the tasks which are expected. This is the job description. But still, you should not give any chance to the reader to have this confusion that, what is happening or what is this about. So make sure you clear everything. So when you're applying, when you use those technical terminologies, make sure you have this glossary section, okay, glossary section, to make your audience understand that this is the terminology and this is its meaning. Then you have references and bibliography. Can anybody tell me what is the difference between references and bibliography? Please raise your hands. I'll send you the PPT file. Don't worry, Mohammed. Okay, so I was saying, see, Have you seen this bit, Google Scholar? Let's say talk about motivation of employees. Any particular topic. So can you see on Google Scholar, if you want to have, if you want to find out the right content, you can set up the custom range here. From which year to which year you want this data. You can click on search. Then I was telling you about the difference between references and bibliography. Can you see her site? So this is the title of the paper by this publisher. And then you have the writers and journal name here. You can click on cite. You can find out various citation types. Harvard, where you have last name, then first name, and then the year, then the title, then the journal, then the page number and volume and page number. So this is how you do the referencing. You can use automatic references here. The things are given. They will do the automation for you. So I was telling you that this is the reference, that this data has been taken. You are not plagiarizing. You are not taking it without giving the credit to the author. So APA style, we have different forms to refer to put the citation. Now, if I'm using this particular paper, like in today's, for example, if I'm writing an article on entrepreneurship and I have literally taken the ideas from this research paper, then I'll put this thing in the reference section. Okay, I'll click on it, do the copy and pasting, and it will happen here. So you can see this is my reference. Okay. Whenever you write report, make sure, though it depends, it varies from place to place, but we always keep the font size 12 and the font type Times New Roman. So this is the standard. Now, I was saying that because I have literally used this content in my work, in my writing, so that's why I have put this under the section of references. Okay, but it is not that I searched for something and I found it in first go. No, I must have, or it might be the case that I would have looked for 50 other papers and then I found out, oh, this one is the better option to keep. Okay, so what I was doing, I came through this one. So I click on it and I copy the link because this is my future reading. I have to keep this in my record. And then I have pasted it here that whenever I get time to complete this report, this is the prerequisite. I need to read it to make sure that I have some basic knowledge about entrepreneurship. Now, what I'm doing, I'm not taking the content from this to write my report. This version, this book, I referred because I wanted to have some basic knowledge before going ahead or landed up to this particular thing. So then this sort of reading comes under the category of bibliography, where you have just used it to create the base, but you have not actually used it in your writing. So bibliography and references, the difference, is it clear?
Yes, it's clear, ma'am. Clear.
Great. Great. So this was the difference. Now let's move on to the next thing, which is characteristics of a good report structure. So obviously, whenever you are asked in writing, listening, speaking, those communication skills, if you are asked that what are the features, then you should remember you are also an audience for someone. So whichever characteristic you would like to have, that sort of structure should be followed. However, you need to understand that style, report styling, the formatting, it depends and varies from organization to organization and person to person. Who is your team leader? Who wants, you know, who wants you to work like this or that manner? So it all depends on all those things. But at the moment, we are talking about the general things. What are the characteristics? So obviously, we should have to have clear structure. This is the prerequisite, right? So clear structure has to be there. Then selectivity of the content. Okay. So when we say clear structure, it means the logical structure. It should not be that there is no flow in the writing. We were talking about this person, and then suddenly there was a shift, and third character came into picture, and we don't have any idea that what this character was about. No, it should be having some flow. A clear structure should be there. Then we have selectivity. That means you need to pick up the words very carefully. Are you writing a sales report? Are you writing an audit report, a financial report, or daily work report? Whichever way or the type you are writing, you need to be careful in selection of words. Careful choice of words can help you to convey the meaning in correct way. Sometimes there is, language gap, or we can say miscommunication happens because we are using, sometimes what happens, let's say you are asked in your assignment that write the characteristics of a good report structure. You have copied it from somewhere. Now you don't want your teacher to know that this is a copied thing. So what you did, you went to this tool, which is Quillbot. Quillbot paraphrasing. And then this is a very wonderful tool, let me tell you. You can use it to enhance your writing skills and to upgrade it, like you will sound like a pro writer. So I have taken this bit. For example, I have, see, this is the definition of routine report, and I don't want to paste it as it is. So I have pasted it here. And then synonyms level. Let me have more synonyms. So I'm moving this toggle. Why it is not? Is this the maximum? Okay, whatever it is. So you can have, whether do you want standard, fluent, formal, academic, sort of. Academic is premium, I guess. Yeah. So let's keep it standard. So I have asked this Quillbot to rephrase it for me. So can you see? It has changed. Is prepared to, written. See what I have written here. A routine report is prepared at specific intervals or as a routine activity. The frequency may be daily, weekly, monthly. So it has paraphrased it for me. A routine report is written either as a routine task or a predetermined intervals. These reports may be sent out every day, every week, every month. So that what will happen? Those who will check the plagiarism will not, synonyms sometimes they could not identify. And then you will be able to show it that it is yours. Now, I'm not telling you any unethical way. I'm just telling you that when we say selectivity of words, so you can see sometimes people just copy paste the paraphrased version. But you have to be very careful, because if you change this keyword, see, I am clicking on either and it is showing you so many options which you can have. But if you change it to any of them, sometimes meaning get changed. It can create, it can remove the thin line between formal and informal reports. It can change your language, the style of choice, selection of words. So you need to keep in mind what you are using, and for that you need to know the purpose of the report. Okay, are we on the same page so far?
Yes.
Sorry. Is
Yes.
it possible for
Yes,
Madame to share the link for that site?
definitely. What I'll do, I'll put the references. Now we know about the references. I put it in the section at the bottom. Okay, and this will, can anybody tell me, if I put the link of this Quillbot, do I put it in the bibliography section or references?
I was thinking maybe you can put it in the chat box. I would want to access it.
Oh, that is fine, Peter. It was related with the things which I explained. I explained to you the difference between
Reference and
bibliography. Yeah. So if I put it in the presentation, where should I put it? Under which category?
bibliography, I guess.
Yeah, that's correct. So bibliography, because I have not taken the content from it, but it is just to know that selection criteria. To know more about it, I have taken the help of this tool. Okay, I have put it in the chat box. Please have a look. Then what we have is slideshow from current slide on the types. So we were at selectivity. We are clear with this. Then we should move to objectivity. Very important. So objectivity is like, see, report. Sometimes you write things in a manner that you become so descriptive. It becomes so descriptive. You are detailing everything. See, report is not an essay. It deals with a problem because it has a purpose to serve. So for that purpose, it deals with the problem. Okay. So it is important to look objectively, like from all the perspectives, to all the sides of the problem. And it is very important, if you want your report to be, acceptable and reliable, it should have validity. How can you get all these things? If you become objective, if you being unbiased. So consider all of the perspective that this data has been taken from this, but if we could have more surveys or more data, so we could, back up this, or we could have more reliable sources. The secondary source we could not rely. So show them the real picture, make it more objective, and then keep your, it is important to keep own conventions, beliefs, likes, dislikes. If you are writing that, I'm being, this is my ideology, I want to being biased. So then write that this is according to you. You believe this, and that's why you are writing in it. But actually, the data says this. So be objective. Then accuracy. Of course, it is important. Factually accurate. Your report should be factually accurate. And it is important to verify the facts. Please make sure. You know, sometimes people just accept there. This is an era where internet of things and news, YouTube, and every other person is reporter here. So you can find out a breaking news on the internet, and then you will see that this was fake. So don't do that. It is important not to take the data from those secondary resources which are not reliable. So in Google Scholar also, why we are telling that go with Google Scholar? Because they always publish reliable sources. But in those also make sure you have some famous publishing brands to follow. For example, Pearson, and then and always go through the reviews, the feedback if you can have for that particular secondary resource, so that you can come up with the conclusion that yes, you want to go with it. So always before framing your report, try to verify the facts. And there should you know that there can be misguidance and misinformation. So please avoid those from the secondary resources. So your things should be accurate. Then the clarity. Of course, the clarity, the purpose for which you have written the report should be served. And hence, you should keep this in mind. Always keep checking what was the purpose, because sometimes we go off track. So don't do this. Report should be clear enough to answer the questions. Always put yourself in the shoes of readers and try to pretend that readers might have this question, so this should be answered. So have that perspective and clarity so that your report can answer all those questions in the minds of the readers. Then we have simplicity. Please make sure, sometimes people just flaunt. If I am not a native English speaker and you use those words, which I cannot understand, you may sound classy or, very, very, what is it called? Uh, you have the collection of vocabulary, but that is not a good communicator, because ultimately we are talking with each other so as to convey what we want to convey. And if that purpose is not served, that there is no meaning. So make sure you don't use difficult vocabulary, complicated sentences. Sometimes people say, they have this complex sentences structure. You see that in some reports, full stop will come after 2 to 3 lines, which is not okay. Try to break down the information so as it can be comprehensive enough for for your readers. And then do not enhance these complicated words or vocabulary. They seem fancy, but they do not enhance the quality of report, you see. So make sure short sentences, straightforward language, that is there. Then you have sections and subsections. It has to be sections. I'll edit it. So sections and subsections means if you have given the heading as methodology, for example, or findings, so it should you should stick to it, that this section should have findings. Sometimes people give the headings as something else and they write, you cannot imagine that this heading can have this sort of content. So make sure your content and heading are synchronizing with each other. Okay. So that's how this bit, which is this section and subsection, is there, where you should know that what has to come under which heading. Okay. One word headings are often vague and misleading. So you need to plan, give time to think about the title also. Then conclusion. So you have to write down all the key issues and pointers and suggestions, whichever is appropriate. Maintain the sensitivity. Please, some problems which you choose to solve from your reports, they may be sensitive issues. So, and also you can see, if I have written something, this is all intellectual property. So you should respect that. Idea is also, a thing which is unique. If you are taking an idea and expanding it, if you are taking an idea from someone else and you are expanding it, make sure you give credit to that person. So ethical issues and all those things should be cleared from your report, that the credit, whichever was or is due, has been given to that person. Okay, where is it? Yeah, so this was about the characteristic of a good report structure. Okay, now if we talk about types of reports, I think you all know about this, and we can have this understanding from the names also. So if we talk about the broader, wider variety, you may have oral or written reports, which is quite clear. But do you think, if we are in a corporate culture, or oral reports would work? Can anybody tell me what is the drawback of oral report?
It is not reliable since the information cannot be kept for a long time.
That's good, Fatima. So you can see that reliable things. Maybe I don't keep my words, and if you ask me that day I told you this bit, and you say, no, you did not talk to me, and we did not even meet. So, you have to be very careful. Reports, maybe, you can have oral or written report. So in oral reports, we do face-to-face communication about whatever is being seen or observed or investigated. And you are presenting any factual information, factual, using the spoken word. But we should, an oral report can be denied at any time. So that's why the significance of written report is there, because it provides a permanent record, right? So in written reports, we can have maybe visual graphics or visual aids to show our data, to communicate, and it is very preferable mode to present the data accurately and precisely. And in this written report also, we have two sort of reports, which are formal and informal. When we say informal, so these are only for internal use. For example, you are making notes. So I think you all are aware of this note. While talking, if I come to know about any of the tool which I should share with you, so I just tell you. So you can have this sticky notes tagged in to your icon bar. You can keep it here. Just bear with me. So these are my sticky notes. These are inbuilt in every system. So in the software, so you can pin to taskbar, and you can use them. Okay. So if I'm jotting down some of the points here and simply having those for internal reference, then that can be considered as informal report. Okay. So it is informals are when you are doing it for the same department. However, still you should avoid informal reports, but sometimes we don't have that much time, and we have to just submit the pointers which we have jotted down. So just for circulation throughout the company. And these reports are shorter than a formal report. But in contrast, when we have formal reports, what we have there, we have prescribed format that this is how, after this heading, this should become. So all these things, the standard form is there, and it varies from organization to organization. So you should know that what is expecting out of you. So when you prepare any formal report, you see, you can divide them into different categories. There can be many, but usually these three are the broader one, like periodic or routine, informative, and interpretive. So as the name justifies and signifies, that periodic or routine means we are doing them daily. Maybe at the regular intervals in the usual routine of business. Now, when I say periodic or routine, that doesn't mean that daily. There may be the case of daily report, weekly report, monthly report, quarterly. That means every 3 months, after every 3 months. We may have half yearly reports. We also have these annual reports. Just like financial report can come under the periodic one. Okay. Then we have informative. So when we define or differentiate these three, so firstly you should talk about the time period, okay? And then you should talk about the information it is having. So in periodic or routine reports, we have more sort of statement of facts, okay? You are writing, for example, in daily report, you have to submit your to-do, whatever task you have done so far in the day. So you can write, did this, did that. So it is like factual statements to the point, right? So you can have summarized or detailed form, that is up to you. But there you are not having any opinion or recommendation, right? Whereas if it is informative reports, they also present the facts, but these facts are actually have purpose, and these are related with issues or situations. There you must have, because it is informative, maybe you are asked, or this is your responsibility to collect the data, be it from primary or secondary sources. Then you have to present the situation as it is, okay? And but it also does not have any sort of conclusion or recommendations. But can you see the interpretive one? In interpretive, what we have? Interpretation. That means you are having all those things, like just like any informative report, you have facts. You are, telling the people that this was what happened, an incidental report sort of thing. But then at the same time, you also include evaluation, interpretation, analysis of the data, and thereafter you conclude by giving your recommendation also. That because of the last 5 years sales report, we can say that this company can be reliable when it comes to, share and dividend distribution. So this is how you say something and have this evidence based on the facts and figures, okay? Now I want you all to see um these templates of report. You can go through them, and because your assignment would be based on it, choose the one which best suit. However, it depends on the purpose it has to serve. But there are many templates. One thing, you have to go through this. I'll share with you the link. Now, see the title of this web page, 24 types of reports. See this, 44 types of reports. Where has it gone? Here. 44 types. And it is saying 50 plus types of reports. But I have only told you 3 because rest of all are basically the parts of those. For example, if you are having what is it called? Audit report, then what you are having? All the financial credit debits, you will represent that as an informational report, right? You may have trip reports. For example, last year you've been to, company has sent you for this work and there you did this and that. You are making the trip report. So that will come under the category of informational. You may have monthly sales report. It is also informational. You may have analytical reports. For example, let's say you have introduced or launched a new product. Now you want to see this new technology. How is it impacting your business? Should you incorporate before launching the product? Should you incorporate that technology? So you will analyze, examine the data. You provide the conclusion that why this is good or why we should not go with it. So this is analytical report and it will be the part of the interpretive where you will give your recommendation, your conclusion thing. You may have research report where you will represent the findings. For example, maybe you as in you are asking for the survey. For example, if I float a Google form and then I'll ask you about the feedback for today's class. So that can be the research report. I may quote those findings in my research maybe. You may have marketing report where you are evaluating the performance. For example, if you have asked someone that this is my advertisement, just float it on all of the social media platforms, then how would you do? You must require some sort of thing. They are doing their work. But as a market analyst or as a team lead manager or whatever responsibility you are given with, if you are asked that how that marketing campaign is working, is it giving any input, is it profitable, should we go ahead again with it or should we obsolete or drop this down? So you should know to evaluate the performance of marketing campaigns. You may have this, you can show using these templates that 25% traffic we got from this website, 30% from Facebook, 25, some sort of this report will come under the category of marketing. Then explanatory report. For example, you have bought today a washing machine. So that booklet which comes with it, which is showing you, telling you the technical and instructional documents, explaining you the tips and do's and don'ts, those will come under the category of explanatory. You may have audit report, client report, sales report, and so on and so forth. And that's how these categories are many. Okay. Now what you are supposed to do, I'm sending you the links. You can see if someone has to write annual report, what they have done for the environment. So the template is given here. You simply go through the templates, okay? For an NGO, how things can go. For the client deal, the proposal, you are sending a proposal to someone that, see, we want to work with you and these are our past records and these are the things. So you can use those reports and templates. So I'm sharing these with you. Do you have any doubts?
Oh, ma'am. Thank
Okay,
Ma'am.
great. So
Thank you so much.
yeah, you're welcome. So basically, you can go through all these things. Make sure you take out your half an hour or so for the a revision of the work which has been done in a class, so that it will not take time to just go through the tasks which are given, and it will give you the continuity, and you'll be able to have that streamlined flow, that things are going well, and you are not overburdened with so many things. So this is how you can strategize your things. So this is it for today. I'm sharing the content as some of you have asked. I'll share the content, and in fact it is there in this general file section, classwork, so you can go through it. I'll upload it in a bit. This was class 1, and class 2 I'll upload in a bit. Okay. All right then. Thanks for
Okay,
giving
ma'am.
your